Connections. You will connect with connections. Prayer of reconciliation. You left the plans of God and time was lost. Humility. I tried to make sense of this prophecy given to me. Was God speaking about my old job? Other people told me it was reconnecting with my previous boss at the health institution I worked at. Could this be? I asked myself, so I stepped out of my comfort zone, and dared to ask my previous supervisor if I could work for her. She said yes. I was so surprised. You know, when a prophet is real, when the words spoken come to pass. I've heard people say prophetic words have to be prayed over, spoken to God in prayer, and action is needed as long as God is guiding the person to take necessary steps. In the instruction I was given, I was told I will connect with connections. I will be connected with people I had known before. Although I was not accustomed to stepping out of my comfort zone, I attempted to ask. Ask, and you will receive. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be open. That that way, that was something very important. I also found out when I did marry in Virginia during 2013, the same message reiterated in my mind as I heard on the train ride coming back from California. I needed to tell my mom I got married. I don't have really good communication with my own parents. There's been times in my life when God has emphasized a certain thing in my life, and for my need to contact one or both of my parents about what has transpired in my life. And all in all, I believe it is all for His glory. God wants the hearts of the parents to be united to their children, and the hearts of the children to be united to their parents. He convinces parents to look after their children and children to look up to their parents. If they refuse, God comes and puts the land under curse. But at times, things don't go the way people plan. Not sure, not sure what my train of thought was at that moment, but the train ride from California to Washington, D.C. was so amazing. I remember taking a train ride to Las Vegas, Nevada to visit my same friend. She had relocated from Maryland to Nevada, and she was living at a military base in Nevada. And just the train ride to get there was phenomenal. I was mesmerized at the beautiful scenery that's in the Midwest of America. And I was just so happy to see the mountains, the different colors that I saw displayed. The train made several stops along the way, and we got to see the towns and its people. I remember we stopped at Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I and other passengers had the opportunity to buy jewelry from Native Americans in that region, and just seeing the mountain scenery was just breathtaking. Chapter 7. I also remember years ago the Korean group I used to be a part of used to go to New Mexico to do several service projects. A couple decided to live there permanently. They took some of the teens and young adults who wanted to live with them. So it was very nice to see that was going on in their lives. And I described my time in California as so carefree. I love the ocean, the beaches, the people. I tell people when I went to California, I felt like I was treated like a famous singer. I felt like I was in a totally different country. I was treated way nicer. I stepped into a shoe store and and the clerk waited on me hand and foot to assist me in any way she could. I experienced this a lot from the Asian storekeepers and their clerks. It was nice how years later I was exposed to NBCC, New Beginning Christian Church, which was made up of Koreans. And don't get me wrong, I do I do get that here in Maryland, but at the time of my life and what was going on and everything had transpired during that time period I was in, I just felt very welcome. It was just very nice, and I bless California, and I pray that good things will come in store, will come into fruition for California and the state of Maryland, and for all the states that I traveled through on the Amtrak train, and all states within the United States and their territories and affiliates that they are connected to, and all those places I would have liked to go to, like Massachusetts, Texas, Florida, and all over the United States. I pray for God's blessing and provision for those people who live in places in the United States territories, Puerto Rico, such a beautiful island, I had the blessing of going there in 2018 on a missions operation to help an elderly woman. She told our group a strong storm came through her Puerto Rico. Their building structures are very strong, and this old lady had testified the water had come to a certain level of her home, and she had prayed to God the high water level in her home would stop rising, and it stopped. It did not reach her legs where she was, and that was the testimony she had given. She's Catholic, and it was an eye-opener for me to realize He can touch and impact people in any religion state they are in if they just cry out to Him. He is just there. His ears are always open to those who cry out to Him. To those who cry out to Him sincerely. So it was very nice to hear the miracle God did and stop the water level from increasing in her home.